Most attorneys see the case, but they don't always see what their client is going through financially while they wait. And that gap can change everything. All right, welcome back to the Behind the GAVL podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Raplee, episode 9. Very excited to be here. Today, we are joined by Brian Garelli, president and founder of Preferred Capital Funding. Brian brings over 25 years of litigation experience and was one of the pioneers in pre-settlement funding, launching one of the first companies in Illinois back in 1998. That's crazy. I was still in high school. Since then, he's helped grow Preferred Capital Funding into one of the largest in the country, working closely with attorneys and their clients throughout the life of a case. Oscar, let's get into the interview. Mr. Garelli, an absolute legend in the industry. You are one of the first people I ever met at a legal conference over a decade ago. And it's an absolute pleasure and privilege to have you on the show today. So I really appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I do remember meeting you like it was yesterday. That's hard to believe. I
Isn't
know.
that crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It goes by quick. So let's start. Just tell me a little bit about you, a little bit about your background for folks that may not know who you are. We'll get into what Preferred Capital Funding does and who you guys are as a business in a little bit. But for the folks listening who don't know Brian Garelli, who are you?
Sure. Good. Yeah. Glad to chat about it. So yeah, born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, lived here my whole life. Although, as you know, I spend about 45 weeks a year on the road now with my company. But yeah, so I'm a trial lawyer to start. So graduated law school in 1990, went to work at a big defense firm in Chicago. Didn't really like it, but stuck it out 8+ years until I made partner. At that point, I really hated it. So left, and everybody's like, "You just made partner. You're crazy. What are you doing?" And I said, "You know what? I just can't do that anymore." So left, started my own firm, and then at that same time, I started Preferred Capital. That was 1998. So it was kind of a dual launch. I didn't know, what was going to happen with Preferred, but I believed in myself as a lawyer. So built a law firm. I think at the peak we had like 5 lawyers working with me, and did all different kinds of things in the law, but did a lot of plaintiffs cases.
Are you still actively working on anything now, or are you all fully in Preferred?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I do, because I know so many people in Chicago, I still get about anywhere from 40 to 50 cases a year, plaintiffs cases
Wow.
that come to me. I don't actively litigate anymore. My last trial was 2017. It was like a 4-week trial, and after that, I said I'm done. Ended up getting a nice verdict, but it was exhausting. So yeah, I co-counsel those cases with friends mostly, and lawyers that I do business with at Preferred Capital. So I refer them out. I stay minimally involved depending on the case. Some of them are bigger cases, and I still believe I will go back and try a case again with a friend of
I mean, you're
mine.
still good at it. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
gotta get that itch every once in a while
I
where you're just
do.
like,
I
I want to go
do.
back.
I've tried almost 40 cases, the verdicts, so during my career. So yeah, I would love to do another one. But just as a kind of a second chair, I
Yep.
refer these cases to very good friends, and then, but I would love to come in and do some witnesses. So I'm actually talking to a buddy of mine right now who has a big case that I referred to him that looks like it may go to trial probably this summer. So yeah, I might re-suit up. I usually only wear suits to weddings or funerals. So since I don't go to court anymore, but
Well, you're always
uh,
dressed good. You're always dressed for the
well,
moment.
thank you. You're kind, Ryan. You're kind. But yeah, I would love to do another one, and I may do another one. But otherwise, I'm just referring cases out, and I keep my law license intact, and just keep my finger in the law because I do love it, and
You
I
still
do
got to keep
miss.
up with CLEs and stuff too. So
I
luckily you're
do.
on the road and you go into all these
That
conferences. What do you do?
yes,
Just like
that
duck into some of the presentations?
Absolutely. I try to sit in on, I look at the schedule at every conference I'm at, and a lot of times my friends slash clients are speaking at these conferences, so I sit in to support them. So yeah, I have no problem getting my
Two
CLAs. I
birds,
usually
one
have them
stone.
done. I
Yeah.
usually have them done by February. But yeah, there's things that still interest me that I love to, sit in on. There's so much cutting edge stuff going on right now in the law, as you know.
Oh yeah, it's wild.
So yeah, I've seen more change in the past, 3 years than I'd probably seen in the prior 10. It's
Yeah.
it's just insanity. So yeah, I love learning. I love sitting in, and I have to be there anyways. And I hate sitting at my booth. Catherine teases me all the time because her booth is next to mine often, and I'm rarely there. But so yeah, I'd rather be inside listening and learning still,
That's
and
awesome.
expanding my horizons. So yeah, so getting back to it, launched Preferred in '98, had no idea what was going to happen with it. There was really nobody doing, lawsuit funding back then. And so for a lot of years, I did both. I,
How'd you get
ran
the
Preferred.
idea? Like, what pulled you into so for everyone listening that may I guarantee everyone knows who preferred capital funding is listening, but for those who don't, you do pre-settlement funding for plaintiffs, and you're one of the pioneers in it. And what pulled you into that, and like what sparked the idea?
So yeah, that's a great question. So, like I said, I was doing defense work initially, and so I was representing large corporations. I did a lot of work for Commonwealth Edison, which is a big utility here in Illinois, the biggest. And I was doing defense work, defending these companies in personal injury cases, and back then the practice was a lot different. It's gotten very adversarial, just like politics over the years, but it actually didn't used to be that way. We fought cases hard, but if there was a good liability case, we would try to settle it, earlier back then and offer kind of reasonable money to get it done.
Yeah.
And it was just a whole different world. And so I had good relationships with a lot of the really good plaintiffs lawyers here in Chicago. And I had a case that settled for, less than I thought it was going to go for, which made me look good as a defense lawyer. But afterwards, I called the lawyer and I said, "Hey, what happened on this one? I'm just curious." He's like, "Oh, the client was losing his house because he
Mm.
couldn't work after the accident." And he called me, and I told him not to settle it for the amount you had offered, but he said he had to do it. And at that time, a little light bulb went off in my head, and I said, there should be somebody that would help people who have good cases, so they don't have to take low ball offers. And at
Yeah.
that same time, I saw the transition from a more collegial practice and insurance companies being more reasonable and settling cases earlier to them kind of switching their whole mindset and deciding to dig in on pretty much every case and fight it to the end and try to wear people down. And so I saw that happening too at the same time. And I'm like, wow, if someone would step up and help people with good cases, they could afford to wait for the fair settlement instead of taking lowball money. It's a huge win for the plaintiff and the plaintiff's lawyer. And like I said, at that point, I was tired of representing corporations. So it was just a nice transition for me. And like you said, I was a pioneer. Back then, nobody
How'd you
was
get
doing it.
Yeah, but like how do you get other people to buy in on this idea when it doesn't exist, or, even financial investment? I mean, as you know,
Totally.
these cases can take a long time, so you're gambling on yourself for potentially 2, 3, 4 years in advance, you know,
Sometimes sometimes
or
even
more.
way longer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had done all right. I started with nothing when I got out of law school. I was broke. I owned nothing. But
That'll
I
happen.
was always yeah, I was always good at saving money. And so I had just put together a pretty large nest egg. And then once I started trying plaintiff's cases, I started getting some good verdicts and making decent money. So I was looking for something to do with it. So yeah, it was.
You kinda
Uh,
self-bankrolled the whole
I
process.
did. I did. Yeah,
Wow.
there's no way a bank would have given me a line of credit on that
No.
back then. It was unheard of. And so, yeah, I bankrolled it with a lot of my own money. A couple of my friends, I let them, put some money in on a investment basis, small amount. And then, yeah, as it started to grow, it was really hard to keep up with it. But yeah, the big thing back then was convincing lawyers it was legal and
Yep.
that, it was reputable, which was really hard for that industry. So
Well,
I literally,
now there's so many competitors.
oh,
And
crazy.
well, I mean, like, how does that make you feel knowing, hey, I'm a pioneer, but now I have all these competitors? Like, I almost, being a copycat is like the best form of flattery. So I'm like,
Right?
I would be proud of that, but then also like, get out of here.
Yeah, it's fortunately there's plenty of business to go around, and if you talk to a lot of my competitors, they'll tell you that I'm, try to be very welcoming that everybody that comes into the
And you
industry. And
are. I will say that
uh,
I have experienced that firsthand. Have seen you very generous, very kind. You honestly, for me, you're you are one of my role models, and I've told you this
oh,
before in this industry.
very kind.
So
You're,
on
you're
who
making
I
me
want to
blush,
be.
Ryan.
No, it's true. You know it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so there are a lot of competition is flooded in, and you know, kind of to prevent, you know, it getting, I wouldn't say too crowded or bad players coming in. We've talked about this. I'm the one that's pushed all the regulation
Yep.
for the industry.
Yep.
Requiring companies to get registered, get licensed, get bonded. In a lot of states have cap
Which only
rates. Yeah,
potentially hurts your business, but helps the industry. And I think that's what
absolutely.
sets you apart. You're not in it just. I mean, you're a great trial lawyer. You switched from the defense side to the plaintiff side. You saw the need. You saw how it impacted your clients and your friends' clients. And like, I think being able to create, I mean, we're going through this with AI right now, and I hope the CEOs of the AI companies can come together and say, look, we need to push this regulation. We need to push this kind of stuff to protect that the world, I will say. I mean, I don't want to fearmonger, but it's like it's crazy. So for you to be able to
Absolutely.
see that and say, hey, look, this is going to impact my business, but help everybody as a whole. And to be able to do that, I mean, that just speaks to your character. I mean, that's awesome.
Thank you. It just seemed like the right thing to do to me, and that's how
Yep.
I kind of, have built everything I've done. I try to do it the right way. So, yeah, and back then, as more companies started coming in, there was some companies doing a lot of crazy stuff, and a trade group got formed out of New York. I joined it, and they were kind of resisting regulation and rate caps. So I left and started my own trade group, and then now my trade group is way bigger and is the one pushing a lot of the legislation. But I just thought at that time, I'm like, hey, if this industry is going to make it and not get sued to death or not have all the lawyers hate us, this is the right thing to do. And frankly, the insurance industry, when they saw what I was doing, decided to try and kill the industry. So I also had to get involved in a lot of legislative and lobbying battles just to make sure the
Wow.
industry survived,
Yeah.
because they hate my industry, right?
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
letting people hang in there for a fair settlement
yep.
and not being forced to take lowball settlement offers drives them crazy, right? So, and I've done all right in life, but they have a lot of money, so
Yeah.
it's really is a David versus Goliath thing, and
That's why I
and
do get excited about AI and technology and where we're going because I really do think it is more evening the playing field. I mean, we know the
yep,
defense side has had this technology that's been under closed doors for a long time where they've been able to analyze data and see things better and predict things better than the plaintiff side. And now I think with all this new flux, now I think it's a bubble, but there's so much good information and it's really, I think it's really evening the playing field more than it's ever been. So I think we'll see the length of cases is going to start to reduce drastically, and I think people are going to have to come to the table quicker. How do you think that's going to affect your industry? And how do you feel about that?
I think it's a good thing. I would love to see court time shortened. yes, maybe my industry would make less, I would make less if cases settle quicker. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I that would be, I think, a really good thing for everybody. I think we know the defense will resist that as much as possible. They
Yeah.
love the delay, so there'll be a countervailing force there, and then the court systems can only move so fast. So
Yeah.
that's another thing that courts are always slower to adopt technology and other
Which
things.
is
The
kind of,
governments,
I mean, one of the silver linings,
and
I think, of the whole COVID thing, is they have adapted a little quicker now. Things are
yep,
moving a little quicker. I think people are we have a younger generation where they are moving faster. They're used to moving
yep,
faster. So I think that's going to help push things along a little quicker. And I think without COVID, I don't know if that ever would have happened,
you're
you know.
right. I mean, it is true, and it's really interesting. During COVID, a lot of companies, my industry, crashed because
Yeah.
there was no cash flow, right? And lawyers were hurting, and
Oh, I know.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it was a really interesting time, and the courts shut down, and cases weren't moving, and of course that created more demand in for my product, in my industry. So
Yeah, big
I
risk
had
though. I
increased
mean, 'cause you
demand.
didn't know
Yeah,
how long that was gonna take.
absolutely. So I rode with it, and luckily
It's
I've
like
been doing this
splitting
long
aces
enough.
at the casino. It's like, "Oh, man, my
Yeah,
bankroll's running low. I don't know if I should split this," but then it's like, "Ah, you gotta do it,"
you gotta do it. Yeah. Yeah. My CFO has been with me 20 years. She's awesome. 20 plus years, I think almost 22 now.
Wow.
She's a good countervailing voice for me. But yeah, when I come in and say, hey, we're going to do this, and now I have, of course, have a giant bank line of
Yeah.
credit and access to a lot of capital. She'll look at me with a little caution, but then always gets on board. So yeah, but nobody knew back then, right? I didn't know
Yeah.
how long it was going to be before cases were going to start being tried again, and the defense used it to really try and drag cases out. And it was unfortunate, but but luckily things did reopen, and the backlog started to break down, and that was a good thing. And then yeah, I think I had my best year ever in collections when it finally reopened, and
Yeah.
things started settling again, thank goodness.
That's awesome. When someone is in the situation where they need that help, what's the process kinda like? Is it, "Hey, just go to the website, fill out the form or help," or do the attorneys mainly make the recommendation and the referral, or is it like, a mix of both?
It's a mix of both. So there's two kinds of companies in my industry, and this has been another interesting thing for me to see. When you look at my industry now, pretty much all the big companies, I'm the only one that hasn't done it, have taken money from hedge funds. We're starting to see
Oh,
this
yeah.
now on the law
Yep.
firm side too.
Yep.
And if you look at the top 15 companies, I think I'm the only one that hasn't done a hedge fund deal.
Wow.
So they've all been either bought up by hedge funds or have raised a ton of capital from hedge funds. And I've always said no to that because I never want that pressure. I think it's, overall, I don't think it's good for the industry. How it's going to work out with law
I'm
firms,
seeing
I
that in
don't
my
know either.
industry too. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot of VC funds buying up multiple, marketing agencies and legal. It's kinda interesting to see.
absolutely. And I've been approached, God, 20 or 30 times maybe to try
I
and
bet.
people interested in acquiring me. And I've always said no. I just don't want that pressure. I don't want them, trying to push me, or if they take over my company, to not run it the right way.
Yep.
So I've just said no, and continue to plod forward. But it is a practical reality. It is happening. And a lot of this hedge fund money is flowing in at a
Yep.
crazy rate, and VC money. And
Well,
you're
I think
seeing
that's
it
what
in
sets you apart.
AI now too.
I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I think as long as you can hold out, that sets you apart. I mean, same with,
Yeah.
all these states that are pushing back on VC-backed, non-attorney owned firms. I
Yep.
think I think that is the right way to go. Once you start mixing, profits over people, you start to run into a very slippery slope.
You're right. You're right. And there's a whole ethical issue on that for
Yep.
sure. But yeah, as far as my industry, there's kind of two sets of companies. One advertise direct to consumer, and those tend to be a lot of the hedge fund companies. So they're spending a lot of money on marketing,
Yep.
TV ads, you've seen them, I'm sure,
Oh
where
yeah.
JG Wentworth
Oh
and
yeah.
whatever. I want my money now,
Yep. Is
and
your
so
money?
there's get it now, right?
Yep.
So they're spending a lot of money trying to go direct to consumer, which of course increase their costs. And I've kind of gone the other route all the way from the beginning. I work only off of attorney referrals. So, I work with thousands of lawyers around the country. I've
Yep.
been fortunate enough to become good friends with a lot of my lawyers that refer to me over the years. And so I just like that model better because now I work direct with the lawyer. They send the clients to me that really need the help.
Yep.
And so it improves my loss ratio and everything else because I know them. They're straight with me. I'm straight with them. And because of that, I can give them a lower rate too for their clients because I don't have to spend all that money on advertising. Um, I do take a big chunk of what I make now, and I give it back, as you know, to a lot of trial lawyers associations.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I
the
see you
largest.
on every single state PLA, even ones you never go to. You still give
Yeah,
back and support,
I
you know?
try to go to all of them at least once, and some of them I still go to every year, just because
That's
I've gotten
awesome.
to know so many people there. But yeah, I've gotten into almost 40 states now, so it's hard to get everywhere. But yes, in every state I'm in, I'm usually the largest supporter by far of the
Yep.
state TLA. I also give a lot of money to the state PACs personally as a lawyer to help fight the fight. And that's kind of been my model all the way along. And, you know, yes, it cost me money, but I found it comes back to me.
Goes around,
So,
comes around,
yep,
you know?
yep. So for sure. So yeah, there are two sets, like I said, the direct to consumer, and then, a lot of companies have tried to again mimic what I do now and try to send their people to the state TLA events. But fortunate for me, because I have done business the right way for a long time, almost 20 states now have given me exclusive sponsorships for my industry.
That's
So
awesome.
they, yep, I'm the only funding company they let go to their events, and it's been a good win-win for the state TLAs and me. And then I'm also their largest supporter.
Well, it's great
Um,
too because you're working with the firms who you're connected with. You know they're in it for the right reason. They're giving you clients who they know need the help. I mean, I think it's a win-win for everybody. You're not the VC money and you're not looking at it as a number. Like these are real people and the attorneys who are entrusting you with this. That's no, it's I mean, it's a trust because they're buying,
oh,
especially a direct referral is always like that client may never really know you, but everything you do impacts the relationship with that attorney. So, like at the end of that case, you're not really the one getting the review; it's that attorney is the one getting that review. So, I mean, there's a lot of trust there, and you've built that over the
absolutely.
years. It's really remarkable, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. It's very kind of you to say. And yeah, I've really tried to, like I said, do it the right way. And I do talk to the client still on a lot of the bigger uh, deals that I have, and get to know them personally.
That's
And
awesome.
I've been fortunate because of that to be the one behind. Nobody knows I'm there most of the time, which is a good thing. But help carry people for years and years and years to I probably now over 10, maybe more of 100 million plus verdicts that, I was the one behind getting the client to the finish line. Right.
Now,
And
do you ever lose money, but still you wake up better the next day because you're like, you know what? I got that person to the finish line and we gave it
absolutely.
everything, but
Uh,
I'm
yeah,
gonna
I've
lose
been on
money and
not
ain't nobody.
guilties. Yeah, I've been
Yeah,
on not guilties where I've invested a lot of my own money in it. And but when I do that, I know in my heart it was the right thing to do.
yeah.
And it hurts when it happens, and I know it hurts the lawyer and it hurts the client.
Yep,
I can't be right all the time, and sometimes there are cases that look really good. That's why this is a risk business.
yeah,
And something happens or you get a rogue jury or some other thing. I mean, this is very, very risky.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, fortunate for me, I've been mostly on the other side of it, and been in situations where I've helped people that are quadriplegics,
Yeah.
paraplegics, and I'm literally covering every expense for them every month. Getting them a wheelchair accessible van, a mechanized wheelchair,
Yeah.
handicap retrofitting their house.
All on a bet.
Yeah, all on a bet that they're
Yeah.
going to win their case.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that is very fulfilling for me, and and my staff.
That's
You
awesome.
know a lot of my
Oh
staff.
yeah.
I've got now 3 employees that are over 20 years with me. I've got another three that are getting close to 20 years.
That's
Like
impressive.
you, yeah, I
Yeah.
hire really good people, and I've been
Yep.
fortunate to have them for a long time. And they know what they're doing, and that makes my job easier. They're really good with the clients, and you know, handhold them, and
That's
we
awesome. Yeah,
always
they are
we
great
always
people. I
yeah,
mean, you email them, they're like, boom, they're on top of it. And they know they email me, boom, I'm on top of it.
yep,
It
exactly.
it's so great. I mean, you run your business very much how I run my business, where even though you may not have your hand in every single little thing, you're always accessible for every little thing. Every client can get a hold of you, everybody can get a hold of you. And I think that's important where you try to reduce the friction and the red tape. Now, sometimes it does catch up with you and you're like, oh crap, there's a lot and you need some help. But
Yep,
still, I think being accessible and at least knowing, hey, if I really need to get a hold of Brian, I can get a hold of Brian. I think that's really
absolutely.
important.
Yeah, no, we have done it the same way. And in interest of full disclosure, I do use you guys, and
Yep, for
yep,
many
I'm one of
years,
your customers.
for
Yep,
a long
and I
time.
appreciate your help on my website and other things,
I
because that
appreciate I
stuff.
appreciate you. You're
Yep,
actually due for a new website. That was man, I built that
we'll
website
get on that.
a while ago. Yeah, we need to
Yeah,
do a new one. Um,
yeah.
so question, I'm an attorney. I have never referred anyone to any kind of pre-settlement funding company. I'm leery, I'm a little nervous about it. When you have those conversations, what do you tell those attorneys?
Yeah, absolutely. Happens all the time for me. I get calls all the time. Mostly it's not lawyers that haven't worked with a funding company before. Mostly it's lawyers who have worked with my competitors and hate the industry because of it. So I've got to get over that hurdle.
Again, same. I'm there with you
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah. So, um, yeah, it's just again being accessible, like you said earlier. Any new lawyer that wants to work with us can talk to me directly. I will get on the phone with them usually when they call me, unless I'm on another call, and I'll tell them exactly some of the things we've talked about today. Is we are different, because we don't spend all that money on direct to consumer. We can charge much less. We support their causes, and we will do right by their client. I had a deal the other day where the client wanted to borrow a ton of money, and the client has a great case. And I personally got on the phone with the client and
Yeah,
talked her into borrowing way less. Now that's against my own interest, right? But it
right.
was the right thing to do,
Yep,
and just said, hey, when your case settles, you can do a lot of these things that you want to do. But for now, let's just keep you in a nice apartment
yep,
and pay for your food. And, the money you're borrowing from me, although I'm lower than my competitors almost all the time, is still expensive.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
let's,
yep,
let's do the right thing. So, that's another thing we always try to do. We are trying to talk the clients into borrowing less instead of borrowing more, even though their case can carry
yeah.
so yeah, that's it's important to me, and that those are the things we do. So I will be on the phone often trying to, or my staff is good at it too, trying to talk the clients into borrowing less and
That's
waiting
awesome.
until
Yeah,
their
I
case
think that's
resolved.
important. You're it's like the credit cards. They want to. Oh, here, have a little more, have a little more, have a little more. And I think that's really important. That's good. I mean, it just shows you're in it. You're in it for the right reasons. I mean, you're backing the people. It's like you have to look at life and things as a people business, not a numbers business. And it's always even even for me, we've lost a couple clients over the years, and we're going into 10 years in business. and
Yep.
still I can only count on my hand how many clients we've actually lost in a decade. I mean, that's that's remarkable. But you got to look at things where never burn a bridge, right?
Yep.
Even if someone does
Totally.
go away, they may come back, right?
Happens all the time.
There's no
Yep.
reason to not be friends with people. Like you said, there's enough to go around. It's like just just be good and do good. You're gonna make mistakes once in a while. You're gonna lose a client, but still, you got to do things for people.
For
And we
sure.
there's enough in the world right now, and if we can make little differences here and there, I mean, that's why I still take pride in what I do. It's like I help connect injured people with the right lawyer,
Yep.
and there's a lot that goes into that, and I think it's very rewarding when a client calls me and says, "Hey, I got this case. I was able to help this person." There's just a lot that goes into that that makes me feel good.
Absolutely. No, you guys do, and that's why I use you. You know, I from the night we first met over a decade ago,
Oh
I
my
could feel
god,
it, right? And, yeah,
dude!
we hit it off right away. We had a lot of fun that night.
You know what's crazy? I talk about this all the time. When this was my first legal conference, we were in New Orleans,
Yep.
and I didn't have a pot to piss in. I was just fresh off company car, like very new, and I'm used to eating at, like, my fancy dinner is Red Lobster, and I still love Red Lobster. But then you
Yeah.
take me out to this fancy restaurant, and it was incredible, and you just the hospitality, and then me not knowing really anyone in the industry, it was a very memorable time and something I'll never forget. I even tell my kid, she's like, "Why do you do what you do?" And I try to tell her a little bit, and I think it's people like you that help someone like me stay in this industry for so long. And I mean, going into 10 years, literally, it was a decade ago when I met you.
That's
It's
crazy,
wild.
man. Yeah, no,
And I don't think
I
you've
liked
aged
it.
today. You look the same.
You're very kind. You're very kind. Yeah, people say that to me. I don't believe it because I look at pictures of myself from a while ago. But I look. Luckily, owning my own business, I do try to have work-life balance
Yeah.
and
Well, it's tough when
work
you're on
out
the
a
road
lot.
for
And
40,
it
40
is.
plus weeks a year.
Yep.
But
But
I
yeah,
mean, you get to see a lot of really cool things. You get to hang out with really cool people. And you've still been able to raise great kids. You got a great family. You've
thank
done a
you.
really good job. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
I want to jump into some rapid fire questions.
Got
What's something about you people wouldn't expect?
That's a good one. Yeah, I guess that I do have time to work out and squeeze in all these things, and yeah, it is a balance. I know people who can't do it, and it's hard to do. But I go that extra effort, and I get up earlier. I usually walk 6 miles a day,
Wow.
usually 6 days a week. I used to run. I don't run as much anymore because I'm in my 60s now. But I try to get those 6 miles in.
I need to do
Six,
that.
yeah,
I try to
yeah.
get 6 steps in a day. So
Yeah, in the winter here in Chicago, I do it on the treadmill, and then when I'm someplace warm, I'm outside. So you'll see me out there, and I try to get that done every day if I can. I take one
nice.
day off a week. Some weeks, depending on my schedule, I might only get 5 days in, but I'm trying to walk those miles every single day.
That's
So
great. Do you have any
um,
hobbies? Anything you collect? If you go to a
uh,
city, are you looking for anything?
yeah, I'm not a big collector. I don't play golf. Those are the things I
I
can't
have one of
fit
your
into my
golf towels.
schedule.
Yeah, my
Yes, I
golf
give away
towel.
a ton of golf. We sponsor a ton of golf outings. Yep,
I got to
we
get
give
you out
away.
on the course. I want a video of Brian Garelli swinging the golf club.
Yeah, yeah. I can do it if I need to. I shouldn't say the only time I golf. My dad's 86 now. He lives down in Florida, and so when I go down and visit him, I do golf with him
Nice.
every time. But other than that, yeah, I just don't have the time for it. Can't squeeze it in. So someday I probably will take up the game, but right now I can't do it. Yep.
All right. So going back 40 years ago, if you weren't becoming a lawyer and even conceptualizing doing this, what else would you have done?
Yeah, I'm sure I would have been an entrepreneur of some kind. I studied finance in undergrad, um, and actually wrestled in
Oh, did
college
you?
for a bit.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
and was fortunate enough. My son ended up, as you know, wrestling at Stanford, so I got to coach
Yeah.
him, and he now works with me, which has been another true blessing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And yep, so it's been a blast. So yeah, I guess that's another thing you say people don't know about me is I was a wrestler, and yeah, um, and then got to coach my son. He ended up being way better than I was even,
Wow.
and
Yeah, that's
yeah, it
impressive,
was a
man.
true joy. Travel around the country with him, and see him compete and sit up in the stands, and then see him wrestle at Stanford. I think I flew out for every single match he had when he was there and watched
Wow.
him, and it was a true joy for that. And yeah, now my youngest daughter also just came on and started working with me. My middle one had a baby not too long ago. Otherwise, I'd probably have her over too. But
Really make it
she's
a family thing. See,
yeah,
you don't need to sell it to a VC. You have the family. I mean, this really
yeah,
could become a generational family business. I mean, that's
that's my
really
plan
awesome.
with it. That's my plan with it, Ryan. Yeah, I would rather have them take it over than sell it to a hedge fund. Not to
Well,
say
feel
that
free
they're
to adopt
yeah.
me and put me in the will.
Uh,
I'll
uh,
be happy to help
all
you.
right,
Happy
fair
to
enough. Yeah.
Brian, always a pleasure, man. I don't want to take any more of your time. I really appreciate you. I am being sincere when I say that you are the first person in this industry I ever met that gave me the time of day. Just
Well,
because I was just a young kid, I didn't know how to sell. I didn't even know how to talk to people. If you told me I was going to be on a podcast 10 years ago, just talking to people, I could barely
yeah.
get the words out. I was a introvert, gaming nerd, and then just seeing this world, it's really opened my eyes, and you are honestly, man, one of the key drivers of a lot of what I do. So I really appreciate you. Thanks for your time today.
Yep, it warms my heart, Ryan, and I appreciate you, and thank you for the time today.
Appreciate you,
Uh,
brother.
all right,
Be
take
well.
care.
I'd really like to thank Brian Garelli for being on the show today. Really appreciate you, Brian. Everything I said, 100% mean. That was a great conversation. Thanks for sharing some perspective. This is one of those conversations that I think a lot of attorneys need to hear. And to everyone listening, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Gavel. If you're a law firm thinking about how to better serve your clients, not just legally, but holistically, this is the kind of work that matters. Like, subscribe, leave us comments, send us some emails. Would really like to hear, some feedback on how we're doing. If you're listening to this and you'd like to be a guest, you think you provide some value to the audience, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks for listening. I mean, we were looking at the stats and we're doubling month over month on our listener count. So we really appreciate that. And we're going to try to keep bringing you some good guests and some good information. With that, we'll see you next time.